Jack. Here we go. Here we go. All right, here we are. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Substack should be running right now. If you're a fan of the Substack, you can subscribe to my Substack. You can be a paid subscriber, but I don't charge for any of it. I can't do it. It makes no sense to me. If you're going to use it for, expanding your political ideas and putting stuff out there, information people need, the idea of putting it behind a paywall of any sort makes me nuts. I can't do it. Even the optional redundant things, I can't do it. So it's free if you want to subscribe to it. If you want to pay to subscribe to help it exist, please do. But I'm not going to make anybody anything, especially right now in this economy. Like, you guys know how pissed I get at this behind a paywall horse shit that, the members only hour when we tell you the really good stuff, after this, that the multi-million follower channels who, my voice is better today, but it definitely has a limit right now. I'm still healing. The multi-million follower channels that exist out there. Those assholes especially could float on just the ads that run on YouTube or Rumble or wherever the hell they are. And yet they still put an hour or more of their programming behind a paywall. And it's a dick move anyways. But when people are paying almost $5 for gas, it gets extra shitty. I am completely willing, and apparently am willing to die on this hill. I'm just not fucking going there. I can't. It's such a I'm not going to do. I know it costs me subscribers. I know it certainly costs me money. It's why I still drive a 2012 FJ Cruiser with 210,000 miles on it. And believe me, my next car will be electric, but not until this one dies, which, isn't going to be anytime soon. I will have to get the timing belt fixed very soon. But other than that, I'm just not going to do it. More than anything, it just aggravates me. Fucking how dare these people? Just talk about what you're going to talk about. And can you imagine if MS Now or CNN or even Fox or CBS went, okay, our cable station is live till 10 o'clock at night. But if you want to find out what happened at the end of the day, the news that, the 11 o'clock news is behind a paywall. Jesus, get fucked. Yes, e-vehicles are the future, indeed. It might be a transition, obviously, from hybrid to that, but either one's going to work. I'm just telling you. So much stuff to deal with today. Okay, can I do something before we get started? Because I know I could probably wait, but I just want to see if it works. I'm excited to see if it works. Where did my little menu thing go? Son of a dog! What the hell did dog doodle is going on? That would be the layers of things. That's the scenes one. This is the overlays window. There it is. Okay, all right. Just to make sure it actually works. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Oh, I didn't build a button for it. Son of a. All right, I'll just do it live on here. Here we go.
It's time for a shameless plug. Oh yeah, it's shameless plug time.
All right, that's a. How do you like that? That's not bad. All right, as stupid graphics go, I work. You know, when my voice wasn't working and I couldn't do shows, I'm like, how can I add quality to the show while I'm completely broken down? For free, by the way, might I add. Yeah, Nerd Halen's going to be at the Ritz a week from Friday. So, hopefully my voice will be better in about 4 more days, and then I can start muscling it up. Before then, wish me luck. I certainly can do the David Lee Roth squeals right now. It'll just make the Sammy stuff very difficult. So, but we will be at the Ritz in San Jose on June 12th, Friday, 8 o'clock. Fantabulous. And then, of course, we have, let's see, where is it? There you go. I'm going to open this up. Close this one and close the San Jose and then the Denver one. Yes, we'll be at Ophelia's in Denver, Colorado, July 31st. My voice should be fine by then. But for real. So just letting you know that's a thing. So this has been a shameless plug.
It's time for a shameless plug. Oh yeah, it's shameless plug time.
All right, so that did it. Okay, that's I'm trying very hard to give myself like promo crutches so I don't feel like a dick when I'm promoting things. And by the way, this is how I besides our Patreons, who, by the way, if you're in the Denver area or you're in the San Jose area or anywhere in the upcoming areas where we are having a show in the area, you can come for free and bring a guest. Just let me know. And live, if at any of those shows, you're welcome, especially my stand-up shows. That's easy. But Nerd Halen as well now. And then, of course, every last Friday of every month, I do a stand-up show at Flappers, and I live stream it to all our Patreon supporters. That's what I do instead of a paywall. That's so. Just to see how I make up for the fact that I don't do that BS shenanigans. That's what I do instead. So we gotta give you other stuff so that I don't have to. So yeah. Ahem. Excuse me. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I do reward people for good behavior. It's true, but slight spankings. I'm at a loss as to where to shard exactly today when it comes to the sort of current state of our political shite show that's going on right now. All right, I'm not even going to cover this one. I just want to show you this is what's passing for some of you will remember Eric Metaxas. He's one of the guys from Flashpoint, Shark Tank, the show on the Copeland Network where the Christian ministers all say things. It's like a game show where people say things like, "What's the last thing Jesus would say?" Besides, "Ow." the old GOP is dead. This is his interview with Dave Rubin. So you can see why nobody actually gives a shit. He was on for the whole hour. So that's how bad it is for Dave Rubin. That is literally how bad it is that he has to be on Eric Metaxas's show for an hour. Woof. Now, let's see. Yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna open this one. Let me show you what the current complaint is in Fox World, that Iran doesn't have the stupid stuff we have to deal with. Iran doesn't have to be all democratic and listen to the people and stuff. We should be more like Iran, saith Larry Kudlow, who might be drunk currently, or might not.
All right, moving right along. Iran doesn't have a War Powers Act.
Yes, they also don't have a democracy, a constitution. They certainly don't have a Second Amendment. What else don't they have that we have?
And that's the subject of the riff.
As it says, it is the subject, says the riff. Okay? It's the subject. It's
Now, not being a lawyer, I don't know if the House passes yesterday.
I'm not a lawyer, but I do wear a pinstripe suit like a dickhead.
And the war in Iran is constitutional or not. Here's what I do know. It's stupid.
Yes, the Iran war is stupid. Yeah.
It's also unpatriotic. It also interferes with President Trump's commander-in-chief responsibilities to destroy a radical Islamist regime that has spent the last 47 years.
Oh, by the way, a bunch of Republicans crossed over with Democrats and voted for the, to basically put the War Powers Act into effect. Some of them were holding off for the end of the 60 days because they were giving him the actual number. And then once that day hit and he was obviously not ending it, they were like, how about not now? Right. And then so it's not unpatriotic. And as a matter of fact, his responsibilities in carrying out this war also are to the people of the country, namely us and our representatives in government. See, the responsibility is to be the president of the United States, not some sort of Timu Xi Jinping, you old fart.
7 years developing nuclear weapons, sponsoring terrorism in order to bring death to America.
Yeah, that's is it China's job via Mexico and when they have fentanyl.
Also death to Israel. Here's what President Trump said on Truth Social this morning.
Oh, thank God someone is going to read it to us.
Yesterday, in a meaningless vote, the House
because he won't sign it.
Voted 4 bad Republicans and all the Democrats to limit my war powers, right in the middle of my final negotiations to end the war.
Final negotiations. That's adorable.
With the Islamic Republic of Iran, which would do so much unpatriotic things. They
which would do.
Know where the negotiations stand. The Democrats are fueled by Trump derangement syndrome. They would rather have our country fail than give me another of many victories. All right, that's Mr. Trump.
That's Miss Trump. 2026.
Again, for me, not being a lawyer.
At this point, you could save us a lot of times if you actually listed a skill you actually have, because you're not a lot of things. Coherent, sober, an economist.
When you add up the days of actual kinetic military bombing,
which is ongoing,
the U.S. hasn't nearly hit 60 days, which is in the war.
Sorry. So if you bomb one day and then you don't bomb the next and then you bomb the day after that, you're not at war because the day in between you weren't directly bombing. Also, what if you were bombing and you just weren't saying anything, or you were moving things closer so you could do some more bombing, or you were reloading, which is part of the bombing. It's an integral part of the bombing process. If you don't mind, here, bend over and I'll show you.
War Powers Act. The bombing actually was 37 days from March 1st to
We bombed them last night, you dumb son of a bitch. I can't even.
April 7th. The ceasefire has gone from April 8th to
The ceasefire was obviously, there's not been a sensation of fire fizzing during that time.
today, June 4th, which is 57 days. So when you look at the numbers, actually, Mr. Trump's got 20 days in the bank. He never
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, dickhead. And again, we bombed them last night, so there is no ceasefire. I don't know what the window is on, like, how long was this? How long before how many Scaramucci's before it actually is a ceasefire? We did ceasefire. How long? About 20 minutes. It was a ceasefire. Well, you didn't really cease firing, did you? Because you were planning on more firing? Yes, we were. Okay. Could you start firing at any given point? Yeah. Have you been firing the entire time on kind of the down low? Yes. How many ships have you damaged? 20 or so. Okay. So not really a ceasefire.
he never hit the 60-day mark. Not even close, but who's counting?
But it's kind of Congress.
Well, Democrats don't care about Iran's nuclear capabilities.
Well, I'm sorry. I was under the impression that it was obliterated last year.
Or their Nazi-like inhumane government that directly sponsored the slaughter of 1,200 Israelis and others,
That directly sponsored. Uh-huh.
and reportedly well over 40,000 of their own Iranian citizens this year alone. And as the New York
Right. Now do Sudan.
Sun points out, implementing the war
Again, like, as many people who died at the hands of the Iranian government in the protests, and Gaza in entirety have died in a pair of weekends in Sudan. And nobody gives a fuck because there's no oil or Jews, I guess, is the idea. And everybody's black, so who gives a shit who gets killed, right, Larry? Fuck me.
War Powers resolution applies only to one side.
He's talking about protesters, the 40,000 Iranians. Somebody in the chat was asking.
It doesn't prohibit the Iranians from attacking us or attacking Israel or any of our Gulf state allies in the region.
Right. That's what makes the difference between good guys and bad guys, in theory, is that we have standards we have to live up to and they don't. But that's what makes our society superior when we actually follow those rules. We still have incredible capability even within those rules. We don't have to break them to win or succeed. That's the ironic part. He's just too fucking lazy.
Iran doesn't have a War Powers Act.
They also don't have a nuclear program.
Now, the Democrats don't think Iran's our enemy. Huh? Really?
Well, the Iranians aren't.
Having said all that, all right, I'm sure President Trump will just continue to bury Iran. He'll make a good deal. His red lines are holding. And that
No, they're not. What do you mean they're holding? You mean he hasn't given up on them? That doesn't mean they're going to happen. Who gives a damn if he's like, I'm going to have this no matter what? Okay, well, welcome to no matter what, dummy.
and that's terribly important. But I'll add this point.
Here it comes. Lay it on me. Larry Kudlow, gin drunk.
Many Trumpian supporters, both military
Trumpian?
and non-military alike, including myself, wish we would work to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I think this would generate more public confidence in our war effort. It would also lower gasoline prices,
Right, which is really what this is all about.
and it would tell
You didn't give a rat's ass if they had a nuclear program at all, as long as the strait was open.
Iran that they cannot
He is, after all, on Fox Business. His business. Well, war is big business, I guess.
control this key waterway. Last evening, I spoke to retired Navy SEAL Mike Sorelli about this whole issue of opening up the strait. Here's what he had to say.
So you're just, you don't trust that we were watching, that we saw it? You can't give new content, you lazy bastard. All right, what did he say? I mean, we all know it, but
A lot of people are waiting for a return to Project Freedom to open up the strait.
Is that what we're doing? I didn't realize. Was it? Are you guys, chat room, are you guys all waiting? Are you busy waiting for Project Freedom to magically start up again? I know I am. It's like Christmas Eve every day. Dear mother, shall we lay out some cookies and milk for Satan Claus, so that when he comes down the chimney with his Scud missiles and minesweeper drones, that he might be a bit parched and hungry. I can't wait, Mummy. Tomorrow it's Operation Freedom Day, Part 7. No, yeah, we're not waiting for that. None of us are holding our breath.
Because we're promised this. We have the military capabilities to do it, but we haven't quite followed through.
Oh, we haven't? Guys, what are you doing? We're all supposed to follow through on this. We are, us. The whatever 87% of Americans who are against this war, and even like 60% of Republicans who thinks it not only wrong morally, ethically, and financially, it's also stupid. But apparently, while we've been busy judging this shitstorm on the merits, we've been shirking in our duties to reopen the strait and get Project Freedom back up. Who do I call to jumpstart Project Freedom? Do I have to buy wall bonds?
Perhaps there are important reasons for that, but I thought you could.
Oh, yeah? Perhaps.
Help us out on it.
It would be a priority of mine, but
Jesus Christ, nice editing. So you're going to give them what, half a sentence each?
the coastal offensive capabilities of Iran. That's to their drones, their missiles, as well as the Mosquito, or if you want to call it the fast attack fleet. Remove the problem. While those negotiations are going on with Iran, and keep the blockade in place.
It's pronounced mockade, just for the record.
So, retired Navy SEAL. All right.
Yes, heavily edited retired Navy SEAL, who's basically saying that he can't understand why the Trump administration is shitting the bed.
And like many,
if I could translate through all the choppiness.
Many military people believes, we can do it. And let's go back.
Of course we can do it, you dumb son of a bitch. Everybody knows we can. The question is, how far are you willing to go, and what's the ramifications? What's the ROI on that can that you're drinking Sterno out of?
Back to Project Freedom.
Let's get back to Project Freedom. Freedom. Hashtag.
Let's open it up. And one point I'll make again, repeat this. Not only just to get energy and gasoline prices down, but to show and tell Iran, you cannot control the strait, period.
Yeah, but what if they kind of can? Maybe those little Mosquito fast-moving boats the guy was talking about are the ones that are dropping mines in the water, and that's exactly what everyone's afraid of, and they don't believe Trump went because he's a liar. And he's lied to everybody on all sides, and the American people and the Iranians and the Europeans all throughout this thing. So why would they believe him when he says, it's safe, there's no mines, come on through, to all these ships before they start sinking? Like, why? Why would they believe him?
Period, full stop.
Full stop. Started it up again. Oof. Okay, so you get the general gist, is that somehow it's our fault. It's our responsibility over here. All of us who are against this hornswoggle. Hold on, let me open this up. There you go. And I want to show you a couple of things to get you like the current state of okay. Where is the okay? Well, you know what? I want to take a slight detour and an excursion to a little place they like to call, sometimes people call, they pronounce it Newsmax. That's how I've been heard. They tell me, pronounce it Newsmax. I'm like, I will call it Newsmax. They say Newsmax. And that, yeah. Was that Foster Brooks? Close enough. To one of our dearest friends on the show, Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the most miserable man on the internet, Greg Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. He's I guess you shouldn't be surprised, but I guess this is a broken clock moment for Greg, but he's on to us. He's caught us red-handed, as it were, spray painting Skid Row on buildings. Greg Kelly, crazy libs want to break our spirit. I can't. Crazy libs. They want to destroy everything. They want to take the wind out of our sails and the fire out of our farts. It's crazy libs. How are we supposed to get on the bus, make it all the way across town, do his show in a garage in San Diego? How's he supposed to do that? When the crazy libs are just tearing our heart right out with, I don't know, news or something. I don't know how it works. We'll find out. I don't know how the Hakeem Jeffries has apparently broken Greg, because Trump's people are winning in their primaries, but they're going to lose the general, something like that. I don't know. Let's see.
I guess part of how we as House Democrats
Libs are, oh boy, wait, I need to, why is this here? Libs are in the business of breaking spirits. It's nice work if you can get it, you know. Hey, in a sluggish economy, never, ever fuck with another man's livelihood. Joel, starting to get a stomach ache. All right, here we go.
Democrats view this moment. Either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will defeat them. We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit.
Break their spirit. What a horrible thing to say.
Yeah, how dare he? Especially as nice as Trump is, especially when he's talking to female reporters. How dare they use language like that?
Although it rings true, doesn't it? Right?
Yes, apparently it's working.
This is what the 4 years of Biden was all about. The harassment, the lawfare, the January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened.
I don't think anybody said January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened. I don't know a single person who would say that or believe that, because it encompasses a lot of time. I mean, even if you want to, blow past the shit show of the Holocaust and other horrors during, our grandparents' lifetimes, even, and just blaze back to, I don't know, smallpox and the Spanish conquistadors, or what Genghis Khan did to most of Eastern Europe, or that kind of, there's a lot of, you can pick and choose a lot of shitty moments over the course of history for the worst thing ever. I do think it was the worst example of political violence outside of, say, Oklahoma City, domestic violence, specifically by the Back the Blue crowd, who apparently were, what they meant was they're sneaking up behind the Blue, and, catching them off guard by, stabbing them in the back, as it were, or tasing them in the back before they tried to curb stomp them.
Now they're in trouble, big time. All of their games have not worked. A statistical tie at this point. They did try to demoralize us, and they tried to lock.
I don't know what he's referring to. Maybe a graphic before he came on the air. A statistical tie with what? Did somebody do a poll? Is Trump incompetent or stupid? Well, if that is really bum 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 bum. Does it really matter whether it was heads or tails?
Lock up President Trump. It did not work. It only fired us up. And if you're like me, historically, midterms elections, that's for the political people. I'm not that political.
You're on a news channel, dum-dum.
Nope. We all got to be all in. And the only thing
Sorry, I'm supposed to believe that you were the nightly show. I mean, obviously you don't have a good time slot anymore because they gave it to Greta Van Susteren. I'm not kidding. They took his time slot and gave it to Greta Van Susteren. I mean, look, he's still got a cubicle there, and they haven't thrown his easy chair in the dumpster. So, you know, every cloud has a silver lining, right, Greg? But the idea that you guys blow off elections at Newsmax.
what did that FDR say? He's the one Democrat we liked on that one day. Well, and a couple of other things too he did. Well, not everything.
Get on with it.
Oh boy, he was so weak when it came to, all right, this was good.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only
Nothing to fear. The right is right. Man, look, I got to admit, some days I have a hard time coming up with show titles, but I've never been that desperate.
thing we have to fear is fear itself.
And they never play the whole quote because he goes, and spiders.
Thank you, FDR. It's
He's obviously never been camping in Australia.
true. It actually applies right now.
Doesn't it?
They want us to be afraid. They want
Oh, they do. They want us to be afraid that gas prices are going to stay high and Trump has no exit plan for the Iran war and the tariff shit didn't work and he's blown a $5 trillion hole in the deficit and added another $9 trillion to the debt and he's responsible for a third of our $40 trillion debt that's already in existence and shows no signs of slowing down with his spending. He's gold leafing fucking horses in DC while other people are having to choose between filling up their tank and buying their medications. But they just want to scare us with that.
They want us to be demoralized. They want us to actually believe all of this negative stuff. And
Oh my God, I can't do it. Well, you know, the true parts obviously are harder.
just, be exhausted by it all.
I don't think Greg is going to be okay. I do not. I think we might have they might have actually broken part of Greg. I think he's completely broken, but I think this is one of those things where it's going to leave a significant mental limp for the rest of time.
Don't be exhausted. Be pumped up. The
Yeah, don't be exhausted. Be pumped up. Put that on a bumper sticker.
2026 midterms are coming, and there are also indications from last night. We'll get to that in a second. That things are fabulous.
They are. There's some wonderful things that are, there's some indications that things are fabulous. Happy Pride, everybody. If I forgot to tell you.
Let's party like we're Ruby Gay, 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 gay. Fronts and don'ts and best of
Come on, Greg,
bones.
dance.
I love that feeling.
Don't be afraid.
Simple hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie,
Come on, Greg, do it.
Fronts and don'ts
You know the
and
words.
best of bones. Ooh, I love that feeling. Simple hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie,
So-
Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Gay. Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Bust up.
Uh-oh. All right. No, maybe things aren't as fabulous as we were led to believe.
In 2002, everybody,
Yes, go back to then. After, you mean when we had a Republican president and a vice president who was actually the president, and after 9/11?
George W. Bush was president, and
Yeah, it sucked. We know.
there was a war going, not exactly very well, and they maintained the majority. The incumbent party
Yeah, but that war, even though it was based on a lie, was allegedly started based on the attacks on the World Trade Center. We were attacked. It was a very Pearl Harbor moment, asshat. That was the old don't change a horse, you don't change horses midstream or any of that shit. That was about.
party actually gained seats. It's a very rare thing.
Yeah, and almost all the people that joined during that time are either gone or Trump is trying to get rid of them.
And it could
Remember this asshole ran on being a compassionate conservative. Trump couldn't say those words without choking on his own tongue.
happen again. It's interesting, there was a war going on back then, and it helped George W. Bush.
Yeah. Yeah. All wars are not created equal. And in retrospect, it wouldn't help now. Hey, you know what? I take it back. Maybe you're right, Greg. You should call Trump. I know you have his burner on speed dial. I don't think he actually gave you the real number, but you can probably call his third cell phone. Call Trump and tell him that he should tout the good parts of the Iraq War, and the Afghanistan War, and how we should still be there, which Trump actually believes. And and have him boost that again, so that maybe the people who voted in that election will go, yeah, I really liked what was going on in terms of Afghanistan and Iraq in 2002. I would vote for more of that. Do that, correct? Yeah, that'll work. Give it a shot, buddy.
There is a war or
a war, and war. There are wars, are sort of wars and rumors of wars, something along those lines.
Conflict, or maybe a skirmish going on right now.
It's much more than a skirmish.
These things usually work to the president's advantage.
Do they, though?
And you'll see they're just trying so desperately to portray everything about it as a negative.
Yeah. And when there's so many positives about the Iran war, tell us, Greg. Tell us. I mean, people almost forgot in Trump saying that we need a deal so that they don't have a nuclear program. They're forgetting the positives, like they don't have a nuclear program, and we destroyed what there was of it last year. Tell us the positive parts and maybe help him sell it. It's just a skirmish. Anyways, did I say war?
No, we're poised for a major victory. And also, remember,
poised. We're very poised. Mm-hmm. Yes, we've got our bow tie on and a broomstick up our ass. Lots of poise.
Remember, the Democrats have nothing to offer. This is the moment.
Yeah, except mortgage relief, student loan debt relief, infrastructure, focus on the American people. Ironically, first, considering what the Republicans sell, child tax credit, education, vocational and community college training. The stuff that actually benefits the populace: clean air, clean water, good bridges, roads, that kind of stuff. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, shoring those up, making sure that bringing back the ACA, making sure people have health insurance. Nothing really to run on.
That I think will define 2026.
This will be the moment that defines 2026. Here it comes.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, you know what? They should play that. You know those little screens on gas pumps? Greg, they should play not just this, obviously, your whole clip here. You should play this Greg Kelly clip on those screens at gas stations, at the pump. Who wouldn't be swayed? You just ignore the number ticking up.
Remember when they wouldn't stand up for Medal of Honor winners and kids who beat cancer? They just sat there?
No, they weren't standing for Trump using those people as human shields. All right, they won't even let him finish the thought. Because I think there's probably an AI that's taken over Newsmax that even it has enough with its, it may be immortal. And as long as it has power, it can reason, think forever and ever and ever. But even it watches 3 minutes of Greg Kelly and goes, I think I'm done. So I do like that last bit, though. I do think that is true. I think those little screens at the gas station should play clips of Trump, basically going, "What are you assholes whining about?" Everywhere. Now, do we jump into this thing? Okay, it's 444. Do the math. Okay, so Trump took questions on Iran, China, Ukraine, Cuba, NATO, India, Venezuelan immigration, and the NBA.
The United States.
Okay, and I got to say, oh, by the way, if I may, just consider yourself warned. There may be a close-up. I can't control it. You know, it's almost as distracting and gross as all the dudes around him who are covering their wieners around him, lest they get a patriotic boner, I think. Oh my God, if I don't hold my hands on top of it, it's just going to spring out of my pants. I'm so excited to see you, Mr. President. That this is a, yeah, he made an announcement, quote, on beautiful, clean coal was the idea. And that was about maybe 15 minutes of the whole thing. The rest of the time he was holding up pictures of the reflecting pool again. The same shit he did yesterday because his brain is tapioca. And then this is the question and answer part.
States now for a little while, if it's okay. Would you have any questions, please?
Yes, President Trump, this was just crossing as we were heading in here. President Zelensky wrote a letter to President Putin. He wants the two of them to meet to hash out the end of the war in Ukraine because he thinks you are too busy with the war in Iran. Is he right?
Well, I don't know. I'm glad that they're maybe talking about meeting. I think we had a lot to do with it. I know exactly what you're doing. But
I know exactly what you're doing. I hear what you're trying to insinuate. You're trying to put something between me and my buddy Vladimir and Vladimir. I like both of them. And Zelensky and Putin are very powerful friends of mine. I'm not quite sure who's winning, so I'm not quite sure who to back. But whoever's winning, I called it. And whoever is losing, they shouldn't be losing, but they wouldn't be losing, and they wouldn't have even been in a position to lose had I not lost. So I see what you're trying to do to me, Doocy.
I think it would be great if they met. They should get it done.
Mr. President.
Appropriate colored tie, I think, for the Iran situation, though.
There's been a lot of talk lately about the Treasury putting your face on a $250 bill.
Right. Based largely on your weight.
Have you seen a mock-up of the Trump $250 bill? And if that
Seen it. He signed off on it, you lunatic.
winds up being currency, would you ever be able to tip anyone anything but that?
Well, I think I'd probably leave it for everybody. I have actually seen something just about 2 days ago. I know it's been pushed by a lot of our supporters, and I'm honored that they're doing it, but we'll see how that all works out. But I have heard about it, and there is a group of people, they really like the job we're doing, you know, so that's a great honor. Yep.
Yes, the kind of people who spend $250 bills or would, like their fives.
You announced just a few days ago that you're naming Bill Pulte as the acting director of national intelligence. There's been a little bit of a pushback from some Senate Republicans. Why do you think, Mr. President, he's the best person for the job?
Because he only knows 9 people. It's kind of amazing at how few people actually want to serve in his cabinet. And he's literally having, like, Marco Rubio has like 6 jobs. I think he's shocked that Rubio won't take this job too. That's why he's giving it to Pulte, who's like one of these like big development guys, like land development guys. I mean, maybe he thinks like I'm in property and I built buildings and therefore I'm president. Maybe somebody who also builds buildings can be the head of the Department of, National Intelligence.
Well, he's very smart. He's a person who's got high integrity.
And he would love to know what the intelligence community knows about battlefields and circumstances in other countries, so that when he invests in those countries, he will know if the areas that he's thinking of buying are all going to be, safe for the next, 20 years, to make sure his investment is worth it. And also to find out where, the best and cheapest, like where we can, maybe we could start a little war and then he could buy the land right afterwards when it's cheap. And then
he's done a phenomenal job at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Yes, and there's so many parallels between home mortgages and the DNI.
You know, you probably have $1 trillion in value there. When he took over, it was much less. And I guess I'm responsible for that too, because everybody wanted me to sell
Why? Because interest rates are high?
it in my first term for 10% of what it's worth right now. If I would have sold it, we would have lost $900 billion. We would have lost, I mean, think of it, it's probably worth $1 trillion. And I was offered, people want me to sell it at $100 billion.
You were offered this? You mean your friends were like, hey, I'll buy Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We'll invest in it and just take it private. Give it to us, which he doesn't have the right to do.
A very small percentage of what it's worth now. So, and he built it up a lot, did a great job. And it's an acting position. It's not a permanent. He's not going to be permanent because, you know, I don't think he'd want to be permanent. But
sorry, there's no one actually at DNI that could be the acting. I mean, look, I know she lost her deputy as well. And I think her chief of staff also left, right? There's just nobody at DNI. They're like, how about anybody in the upper, I don't know, 15 fucking people at DNI? Nobody gives a shit who that person is, as long as they know what they're doing. What make them what the hell?
But he's a very smart guy, and he may find out some things about the rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera. I think he'd.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's going to spend his whole time there. He's not at all going to use, you know, satellite imagery and all of our like military geological and ocean floor surveys and that kind of stuff to find out what real estate and what energy sites are going to be the most, you know, expensive in 30 years time or whatever at all. He's not going to use every tool of the intelligence community to just feather his own nest.
He'd like to do it. I think he wants to do it very much. Got a lot of energy, but he'll be very good.
Why don't you put him at Department of Energy then?
Again, it's not a permanent position. We're interviewing.
Yeah, you're just sending him over there to see if they have any Epstein stuff in the files there, and if they don't, you'll move somebody else
people right now. But it's somebody just to take it over for a little while.
Take it over for a little while. You do realize this isn't like HUD or something.
In your view, Mr. President, the necessary national security experience to take on that position?
Well, I do, and I think he does, actually, because he's smart. Because a lot of national security, I would.
Somebody's asking, what does et cetera mean? And so on and so on. It is a word of continuation. And like unto what I have just said, more of that, and more of that, and more of that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I wasn't greatly experienced in national security, and I think I've done a really great job with it. A lot of people would say that.
Nobody says that.
I've ended 8 wars.
No, you haven't.
And soon to be a 9th. I hope that works out too. You know, frankly,
wasn't he up to 10.5 at one point?
But probably, and there's another one also. It could be 10. No president. I don't think a president's ended one war having to do with.
Well, Joe Biden got us out of Afghanistan.
Outside of this country.
After you ran on getting us out and promised to and never did.
So, you know, we've done a good job. I would say that Bill is a guy that will be able to figure it out very quickly. Again, it's short term, but he may be very effective for a short period of time.
Mr. President, so what?
Why is the follow-up question like, why not just elevate someone inside DNI who knows what they're doing? Why does that not come up? Why is that not a normal follow-up?
Will there be a proportional share increase of electricity production as a percentage of our nation's electricity output? And my follow-up is, I took that historic trip with Secretary Wright of the small modular nuclear reactor on the West Coast early this year. Are we making more progress? Because I know how critical gas and coal is for the secure grid.
Well, the answer is we are, but Chris, you want to answer that?
Yes, I mean, our electricity grid essentially runs on gas, coal.
They're not panning up at him at all. Just get to watch Trump be bored that someone else can talk for. I don't want to talk about that.
Those are the three key sources.
Disappointed. Here is a simple man, surrounded at all times by hundreds of people, hangers-on, sycophants, servants, and body men. And yet, nothing makes him happy. He understands the touch of even his goodly wife is cold comfort, because she realizes if she doesn't outlive him, she's going to be buried on a golf course with no headstone. No matter how many male children she produces while married to him that may or may not be the son of the security guy at one of the stores in the base of Trump Tower in New York. Who can say? A sad, tiny little man expanding around the midsection, an ever-growing nunt, which obviously I should probably warn everyone about. But here he is, lonely in his ignorance, with his yellow tie, showing his cowardice. All right, this is...
Sources, they're the backbone of the American electricity grid. We're in favor of seeing all three of them grow. You will see all three of them grow during this administration. And in fact, later today, before the sun goes down, you'll see a big announcement in the nuclear space related to the trip you came on.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Mr. President, President Putin said today that he was willing to make compromises that you requested to end the war with Ukraine if Ukraine was willing to make similar compromises.
Yeah.
He also said he was going to share nuclear material with Iran.
What were the compromises that you asked?
Well, I'd rather not say
because I don't know.
Peter asked me. I think it was meant as a little wise guy question, but I'm not sure. But I'm very responsible when that happens. It's going to happen. They're going to both make compromises. I suggested those compromises.
Horse shit.
And, we've had a lot to do with it. We'd love to see their two very good people. They're two very, incredible countries, beautiful countries. They've got to stop. Last month, they had 25,000 people killed.
It's amazing how they hit that exact number every month. It's just, the efficiency.
Soldiers, mostly soldiers.
Right, obviously. You got to hit 25,000 every month so that you can say that number over and over again. So obviously, if you're short soldiers, you got to start killing some civilians just to make that deadline. And hopefully they don't go over. That would be embarrassing.
People, but mostly soldiers.
Yes, because soldiers aren't people. That's the... hold on. I think... yeah. Yes. Thanks for... The moron you know. All right.
It's been averaging probably almost 25,000 people every month of soldiers killed. And
probably almost.
I've been very strong on the fact that they've got to get that over with. So
you've been very strong on it? Really? Every day do you come out and they've got, those words written on 50-pound weights and you're just curling those sons of bitches?
But they do. I want them each to make certain compromises. I think they're going to do that. Yeah, Daniel?
Mr. President, thank you. You, through your actions, have saved and supported more than 100 coal plants in your second term. When you hear something like that and you try to create an environment where they're not just surviving.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word environment in this question. Just saying. I would leave it. Seems a little too ironic.
They're thriving. What does that do to the reliability of our energy grid, but to the economies as well of states like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Wyoming? How does it bolster those economies?
Well, it certainly drives up the hospital visits. Anybody with asthma or any pollution-related diseases, lung diseases, and black lung especially, or whatever. So that's a big boon. Those kind of surgeries are expensive. That has to do something for the bottom line of the state.
We're destroying our grid because we're relying on wind and other things that don't have
No, we weren't.
the power. They don't have the strength. They're very expensive. Wind is the most expensive form of energy. It sounds good. Wind, beautiful wind, but
Yes, every time I look at wind, I go, how beautiful. You can just see it there. You can, what was it? I think of the immortal words of Spinal Tap, who said, break like the wind. All right.
it's very intermittent, but Those windmills cost a fortune.
Guess it depends on where you are. Chicago, not so much.
They break, they kill the birds, they're bad for the environment. Nobody wants to be near them. The houses, I don't know how.
Yeah, again, I don't get that at all. I'm still, that's the one where it's like they lower your property values. The vast majority of people who aren't insane see wind farms and go, they look kind of cool. You know what I mean? They look futuristic. They look pretty, even like solar panels. We have these 3 solar towers outside of Las Vegas. It's one of those molten salt reactor kind of things where they aim all the light from the sun using these reflectors and solar panels at the molten salt reactor, and it heats up the salt, it stores it, and then they use that, because it keeps the heat for a long time, and then they use that heat to run turbines and the like. If you look at that, you will go blind. It's twice as bright as the sun. It's messed up. I would much rather glance to my right, when you're driving and you just forget that's there and you just kind of look over. I would rather look over and see rows and rows of windmills in the fucking desert than go blind.
I don't know how they got popular. They're not popular with the people. They're popular with investors because they get subsidy.
All right. So the investors are evil. Okay, noted.
But we pretty much cut that subsidy out, I think, Doug, right?
Absolutely. In the working families tax cut bill, it all expires, and since the
it all expires, which means it sunsets it because it's already sunsets in whatever 5 years, some shit.
Subsidies have gone away. There's virtually no one, particularly offshore, no one is trying to build one of those projects in America. Turns out they weren't trying to generate electricity; they're just trying to generate tax credits.
That's right. You're supposed to be making money with energy. And here, wind, it needs subsidy. Energy.
We subsidize the oil companies. We still subsidize gas prices as high as they are in the United States. Sorry, is there a strategic reserve for wind?
Energy shouldn't need subsidy.
By the way, that would be a giant petroleum battery, effectively, that we have to keep charged at all times. Nobody, that didn't occur to me. The taxpayers are buying large amounts of oil and storing it in fucking salt caves just in case. That's not, you don't consider that a subsidy? Of course it is. We also subsidize the price to keep it artificially low. We also give tax credits to the oil companies to produce more, and they don't.
We have so many different forms of energy, but I've talked about it for years. Wind is the most expensive. It's the worst. It causes tremendous problems, and it does. It kills millions and millions of birds a year. Nobody mentions.
Yeah, but only the dumb ones.
That. You'd think if that were anything else, everybody would be sued.
Like nuclear. Yeah, thank God nuclear reactors or oil tankers never kill birds. Should we just play like can somebody take like the Exxon Valdez cleanup where we all discovered, all seemingly together, that Dawn can save a bird from oil, and just project it onto the Washington Monument across the street so he can see it?
If you kill a bald eagle, they put you in jail for like 4 years or something, and yet windmills knock them out of the air all the time. Nothing happens.
Yeah, no, they don't.
It's disgraceful. So
no, they don't. And also, they don't cross the land. They're not, lumbering through like Mechagodzilla, smacking bald eagles left and right. If a bird flies through one of them, which, by the way, the big ones spin pretty slowly. These are the same kind of birds that fuck while falling, so they die just having sex on occasion. So maybe that's what's killing you. Maybe it's getting them twofers because while they're plummeting to earth, they're hit by a windmill before they orgasm.
We're into energy that really works and works powerfully. Yes, go ahead.
And we're waiting outside to come into the Oval Office. Everyone's looking at the UFC structure,
Yeah.
the claw. Are you happy with how that's coming along, and what are your expectations?
We put it up in 5 days. It's incredible. And I
Yeah, it looks like something Carney's welded together.
told yesterday the story of
Yeah, it looks like you rushed it, buddy.
the Eiffel Tower, and it was 1889. It was put up. It was going to be brought down right after the World's Fair ended, which was up for a short while. And they said, well, let's leave it a little bit longer. Then they said, let's leave it a little longer. It never came down. That was 1889, the World's Fair in Paris. So I jokingly said, let me tell you a story about the Eiffel Tower. Now it'll come down after the fight. They were actually.
Yeah, I don't think any of us look at it and don't make an immediate connection to the beauty and majesty of the Eiffel Tower.
Some people said he wants to leave it up. Yes, please.
Yeah, you.
How about the Columbus statue, Columbus Fountain at Union Station? It looks amazing.
Thank you.
And what does that mean for the relations between Italy and the United
Well,
States?
it means Italian people love Trump. And because, that was controversial. People want to rip it down.
Yeah, but mainly because if you bring in a casino, they know it's not competition.
You see how beautiful it is. And we don't.
Like everybody leaves that part out of like movies like Goodfellas and Casino and that kind of stuff where Trump puts up a casino in the area and nobody has to strong arm him because it'll just die on its own. Like he's muscling in our territory.
Not only not rip it down, but Doug and his group and all of us together, we beautified it. It's I didn't know that marble was going to be so beautiful once we cleaned it up. You wouldn't believe it when you saw that thing was loaded for.
It was filthy dirty.
50 years with filth and graffiti and everything.
It was loaded with filth and graffiti.
Anything else? It's amazing. It's amazing how good. They did a really great job.
On the Strait of Hormuz, Mr. President, do you still want European allies' help? We're discussing energy today. And
well, we don't need the help.
What kind of help would you want? Do you have
We're the most powerful military in the world. We gave them a chance to help, but they chose not to. NATO. We went to the NATO
It's a defensive organization, so they don't help with attacks.
countries. We went to others too, in all fairness to NATO. And I wouldn't say I gave them a hard sell, but I said, hey, if you'd like to help, it would be wonderful. And they all turned us down. And, it's going to be an expensive proposition for them because they shouldn't have done that. They should have helped. We don't need it. We have our own. We have much more than we need.
Yeah, but there's a supply and demand thing on the world market, and we don't nationalize our oil because we're not Venezuela so far, unless the whole purpose was to like capture Maduro and have him come up here and nationalize our oil for us. Is that the plan?
In terms of oil and energy generally, but European countries and other countries, they need it tremendous. Some of the European countries need it really big.
No, they don't.
And they should have said, we'd love to help, but they didn't.
No, this is more about fertilizer for both them and us than it is about oil.
If you could choose, Mr. President, if you could choose, what would you ask them to do, sir? If you wanted.
Well, I would have asked them. I mean, there's not much. Look, we won. There's no Navy. There's no Air Force. We've wiped them out. We've wiped out their leadership and almost all of it. We've wiped out all.
Again, then who the fuck are you talking to?
All their military.
If you sign a deal, who's going to enforce it?
Their leaders. They're down on the third. Now, maybe they're very good. I don't know. I can't tell you
They're down on a third.
but
That means the third round of leaders there. He killed half of them.
Certainly the first ones didn't do very good because they were literally
Killed in their sleep.
After 3 days, almost the entire military was wiped out. They had to get new generals. And then after that, they had to get more new generals. And we knocked out their anti-aircraft, their Air Force, just about everything you can knock out. So.
Then what are we doing there?
And then you read in the fake news that they're doing really well in the war. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, they don't say, no one says that. No one's saying that they have an amazing military right now. No, I think more than anything, it was the beforehand that a lot of people were bullshitting about Iran's military capabilities in the same way that they were bullshitting about Russia's. The point isn't that we, as as the biggest military in the world, 9 times, like, but I guess whatever 20x what Iran would ever have. Of course, we can win. The weird part is that half of their Air Force is parked in Pakistan and completely safe whenever they want to use it. They have spent the better part of this ceasefire building bunkers for ballistic missiles. They are moving their entire functioning military to ballistic missiles. That's all that matters to them. Regional and eventually intercontinental ballistic missiles. They don't give a shit. They're not going to fight with tanks or helicopters. It's going to be drones for short range and ballistic missiles for long range, and that's it. That's the reality. And this motherfucker thinks, we won. They're basically, I don't know, we killed everybody but the hardliners, who are all fucking lunatics.
We knocked out everything there is to knock out, and you'd pick up the fake news and to say how well they've done. They're doing brilliantly. They have no Air Force. You know, they had exactly, we knew that, 159 ships. Andy, out of 159 ships, all 159 lie beautifully at the bottom of the ocean. We actually took pictures of them down there.
Why don't you show them then, dum-dum? Just run a little counter right next to you. Just sit there at the desk and just go, here's ship number 1, number 2, number 3. And just have them bling, bling, bling. Just count them off as you fucking go. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Besides the fact that you're making this shit up. Someone's asking, why are his eyes half closed? Well, the bottom parts are really swollen. They have been for a couple of days. And the other half is because he's bored with war at this point and he just wants to be a winner.
Then you read the fake news. They say, well, their Navy is really great. You know what they have now? Little runabouts with a machine gun on the front.
Yeah, and mines in the back. That's all they need.
The ships don't even really deal with them. They're like a gnat, you know, like get off.
Yeah, like a mosquito. That's why they call them mosquito boats. Why they call them that? Because they can give you fucking malaria. If you don't believe me, watch the end of Star Wars: A New Hope.
That's all they have. It's crazy. You know,
we've got the best Death Star. Everybody's going to cower in the universe with the size of our Death Star. What do we give a shit if a couple of farm kids and little X-Wings fly down our poop chute? Who cares?
This country needs a fair press. And one thing I think that's done is expose how corrupt our media is. And I really...
All right, again, his evidence that the press is corrupt is his fantastical delusion of what's written in the press about reality. That his own exaggerations of realistic reporting ad absurdum is what's actually written in the paper, and his defensiveness about those things that are written is the words that form and say, oh, they're just saying everything's great, I guess. Like that thought in his own head then becomes the printed fucking word.
I really do. While we're here, I hope the media looks at this election that's taking place in California, where they think it'll take 7 or 8 days to count the votes. Can you believe this?
Yeah, it's an early election. It's not surprising at all. It's a big area.
I mean, they spend all that money on the...
And by the way, it doesn't take that long to count. That's the other lie. Let's stop for a second. Let's stop this lie in its tracks. There are a lot of the lies that come by, and we've dealt with them so many times that they become kind of perfunctory. We can just kind of do it and then move on. Okay. The lie about it takes them this long after the election to count the votes. It does not. You can mail in your ballot up until election day. And then you have a window of 7 days where if you're out in fucking Bakersfield or wherever the fuck, your ballot can go through the mail system and go to where it's going to be counted. And they've got a week to do that. Most of the time it happens beforehand. But let's say it takes 3 days for everybody's mail-in ballot to get in. That's mailed on the actual day at the absolute deadline. It takes 3 days to get where it's going through the regular mail system. And then it's part of the counting process. And there are millions of them, which have to be fed into a reader and counted and then checked if anybody has an issue about it. So it takes an extra 2 days, about 5 days Most of the time, it maxes out at 5 days. They know before then in most cases. But in a large area like that, the mailing process, the last day you can mail it is on election day. As long as it's postmarked on election day, it can count. It doesn't, they're not looking at it for 5 days going, is that a 420? Did I say 426 or 427? I lost count again. Like, it's about transit time and counting. That's what it means. That's why it takes as long as it does. It's not because they're incapable of counting the fucking ballots. It's people have time to mail in their ballots, and there's a window for a week for the postmark to max out. And there is signature validation. That's true. There's a big process for it. At random, by the way. So it's not like, okay, we'll do it. We'll in the white areas, we'll verify the signatures just so we can say we're doing it. And then, in the where the illegals live, we're just going to pretend, that those are all fine. That's not how it works. They randomly pull some. Anybody can file any one of the candidates can file a lawsuit and go, I want these recounted, and they will be. God damn, so stupid. So, when I was a kid, we had at least 5 birds ran into our large windows and died. Better get rid of the glasses. Right, yeah. We have hummingbirds that bang into our windows upstairs all the time. Obviously, we got to get rid of windows, according to Trump.
On the machines, the big voting machines.
Hold on one second. I have to check one thing. All's well.
They think it's going to be 7 or 8 days before we know who won the election. But the numbers.
No, it will take. We will not know who won the election until a plurality of votes have been counted to where there is a statistical improbability beyond a reasonable doubt that any more counted past this point will make a dent in it either way. If there's 100,000 votes outlying and the person in the lead is 80,000 votes ahead, the chances that more than 80% are going to go to the other person is almost nil. Therefore, they can call it, even before the votes have been fully counted. Before the people who have voted, who sent their vote in, mailed it in on the final day, before their vote is actually tallied, the vote will be called because of statistical averages in the volume of votes in the area. This falls right into Trump's whole this.
And when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
It's just fucking dumb.
Numbers are looking strange because without any vote counting, the numbers dropped very precipitously for 2 Republicans that are doing well.
They don't drop. The other votes went up because the highly populated areas get bigger batches of votes than the smaller ones where did everybody in the neighborhood vote? That's it? Okay, we're done.
Been doing well. And I hope you're all watching it because I'm watching it very closely.
Who gives a fuck what you're watching, dude? Prove it or shut the fuck up.
President, are you worried that China is funding an anti-data center movement here?
No, I'm not worried about it. We had a great meeting with China.
I'm not worried about anything with China. He's my best friend. They are, by the way, just for the record. Doesn't mean you're wrong to be worried about certain data centers. We're going to talk on Friday tomorrow about the data center. As a matter of fact, I have a new graphic called Attack of the Data Centaur. But the Chinese are absolutely funding kind of the anti-AI movement in the United States in an attempt to sort of hold us back so they can catch up. It's the same thing Elon Musk pulled with this, we've got to pause. It's dangerous. So that everybody else would pause and he would continue to train his models and stuff like that. And by the way, the solution, the data centers that I keep telling you guys are going to be obsolete already fucking happened. I told you they would have this window of time about 4 hours a day when his brain wouldn't just be a pile of diarrhea. And can you pile diarrhea? I guess a bag of diarrhea. Sure. That it would be about 4 hours. And now the reality is we're about 2.5, 3. And the rest of the time, he's just, and you're never going to see him walk in or out of a room. Notice how they have pulled all of the situations where he's like giving awards in that other little room, standing up. They're minimizing those. He'll have a couple of them, but he'll be very chatty when those happen because he'll be jacked up on steroids and Adderall. But every single one of these, he's already sitting when the press comes in and he's surrounded by a bunch of people. They have all been waiting there, and then they all leave before he gets up. Now, I know maggots will go, that's because he's the man. Okay, keep telling yourself that, dum-dum. But this, hold on, we'll keep continuing on this. That window is tightening. What was I talking about before I got to the window is tightening part? Never mind. Anyways, you get it. Yeah, and the smell downwind from him is brutal. But you're not going to see him get up and, at any of these events. It's also why they extended the desk on either side with his little, busts and little toy planes and all that kind of shit. It's so that the photographers on that side can't photograph his ankles if he slides back or if he does stand up when he was standing up before.
And, they do things to us and we do things to them. I say.
Oh, yeah, the data center thing. So quantum computing is going to solve the data center thing before they even get finished being built.
All the time. They say,
I'll explain it tomorrow.
Oh, are you worried about China tapping your phones? I said, well.
Yeah, that's not what she's talking about, shithead.
Well, they're worried about the same thing. No, we're very highly sophisticated. We've become very highly sophisticated.
Yeah, when we spy, we put our pinky up.
At 4 years, I rebuilt the military. We had a military that was not good, and we rebuilt it. And
fuck you.
I didn't know I'd use it quite as much, but we used it.
This is, by the way, the guy who takes credit for the VA Choice Act of 2014 says he signed it and he was the only one who could get it passed. Just for the record. Just want you to know that this is a man who is stealing valor from other people who are helping veterans and pretending he did it.
Ukraine has been given a tremendous amount of our, without our military and our equipment, Ukraine wouldn't be alive to fight today. Just in terms of the question.
In terms of the question where someone mentioned the thing.
We gave them hundreds of billions of dollars worth of equipment and the best equipment. We make the best equipment anywhere in the world, but they wouldn't have lasted 1 or 2 days. They wouldn't have been able to do it. Remember they
lasted weeks, if not months, before our stuff showed up.
The anti-tank missiles, remember that, right? When the tanks got stuck in the mud, and then they went around and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I remember that when the tanks got stuck in the mud and then they went around and boom, 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 boom. He means the javelins that he withheld in an attempt to get them to falsify an investigation into Joe Biden so that he could basically have a replay of what James Comey did with Hillary Clinton. And he failed because those arms had already been approved by Congress, and he would have had to break the law in an obvious way to benefit Russia to hold those things back.
And those were...
And by the way, the delay of them was actually part of why and when Russia attacked. Like every month they didn't have them is, process where it took longer to get them, where they would get shipped out. Every day you delay them, it lengthens the supply chain, and in an attempt to basically leave Ukraine in a situation where they couldn't defend themselves so that Russia could attack when they did.
Given by yours truly. They said Obama gave sheets and Trump gave the anti-tank.
Javelins. The javelins is what you're thinking of. Also, the reason Obama gave sheets and blankets and stuff is because it was a different president. Yanukovych was a Russian puppet. That's why we didn't want to give them weapons, because they would have used them on their own people. You know how we know that? Because you fucking hired Paul Manafort to run your campaign. And he was the guy who gave Yanukovych the idea, put snipers in the towers and agents provocateur in the crowds on Euromaidan, have them start some shit, run away, and then we'll kill protesters and that will end it. It didn't work. And he had to flee the fucking country.
One of the most devastating weapons, but you check that out. But we have...
Check out what? the name of it, the Javelins?
We have the greatest military. We have the greatest military equipment anybody's ever seen before. Look at
Yeah, it's not so much about the people, right? It's the stuff.
Venezuela. We went in there. It was over after about 48 minutes. And, you know, they have a
Yeah, it was a kidnapping. It was a smash and grab.
strong military, different kind of a military, but a lot of soldiers. And you look at Iran, where we essentially wiped out their military. Now, there's some missiles left, but very few compared
And half their Air Force, which is parked in Pakistan.
to what they had.
And speaking of our military in Iran, I wanted to ask you about this report that you would only restart the conflict with Iran if they killed U.S. troops. Is that your red line for ending the ceasefire?
If they killed,
U.S. troops.
what does that mean?
Oh, shit. It means if U.S. troops, soldiers, American soldiers, and personnel even were killed by Iran, they would be troops killed by Iran. Would that be would that be too much? Holy shit! What does that mean?
You would only restart the conflict with Iran if they killed U.S. troops. Is that your red line for ending the ceasefire?
If they killed,
U.S. troops.
what does that mean?
That you would restart the war with Iran
What does that mean?
if they killed U.S. troops.
Well, it would be a good reason. I'll be honest with you. If they killed U.S. troops, I think I would do that very quickly. Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
It never occurred to you? You don't think that's a possibility? They've already killed some.
Responded to the vote in the House yesterday.
Also, by the way, when they killed the last batch, that's basically when you called off the fighting.
The War Powers Resolution. Also, we've seen Hezbollah reject the U.S. brokered peace in Lebanon. You said that negotiations.
Yeah, he spoke to Hezbollah. He said he's been saying that the last couple of days. Hezbollah officially today said they reject the peace deal between Lebanon and Israel, and that they're not going to stop fighting.
Negotiations are in final stages, but Iran's saying they're stalled.
They didn't reject me. They didn't reject that. And they're looking. I think Hezbollah. I will tell you, they called us and they said, "How about stopping?"
That's what they said. I mean, roughly translated. Also, how'd they get your number?
And I think you're going to see things happen over there. That's been like a little bit of a different world, but it's interconnected with Iran.
Holy shit. All right, this is where they're going to have to start wrapping it up because his brain is jelly at this point.
And they're looking. I think Hezbollah. I will tell you.
Because literally, hold on. Oh, let me shoot.
You said that negotiations are in final stages, but Iran's saying they're stalled.
They didn't reject me. They didn't reject that.
They didn't reject me. I rejected them first.
They're looking. I think Hezbollah. I will tell you. They called us and they said, "How about stopping?" And I think you're going to see things happen.
How about stopping what? Israel?
Happen over there. That's been like a little bit of a different world, but it's interconnected with Iran. And it would be really nice.
Hezbollah is a direct proxy.
Nice if Lebanon could have some peace. Lebanon's been under attack for so many years and always like an underdog. And it would be
what the fuck are you talking about?
Really nice if it could end. And I spoke to Bibi Netanyahu about that.
Oh yeah, I've heard his name. Whatever about this tall asshole.
And I speak to them about
war criminal.
And I actually spoke to Hezbollah about it.
Right, that's what he was making the point that you talked about that, and they rejected the peace deal.
I think progress is
today.
Made. That's been going.
Who gives a fuck what you think? They said no today. All right. Fuck me. All right, hold on. Four hours ago, Hezbollah rejects renewed ceasefire agreed by Israel and Lebanon. Nobody gives a fuck what Trump thinks or feels about how it's going to work out. It ain't. This is so fucking odd. I just what difference does it make? Hold on. Where was I? Oh, it's out. It's this one. I think it's going to work out. It is not. It is not. Clearly, it is not. 4 hours ago, Hezbollah rejects renewed ceasefire agreed by Israel and Lebanon. If they didn't reject just that, they also rejected you. If they called you, what did they do? Ask you if your fucking refrigerator was running or if you had Prince Albert in a can?
Been going on for a long time. You know, when you look at that for years and years, 48 years, I say, well, let's get this settled. How long has it been going on? 48 years. I said, that's a long time.
It is a long. Yeah, it's a funny thing, you know. It's stuff like that. It's amazing that people care about things that long. He's had 3 different marriages in that time.
Not that easy, but go ahead.
As we get closer to the midterms, are you starting to factor in domestic reaction to this in your handling of this, or are you
I just do what's right.
indefinitely?
No, I mean, look, it was like Venezuela. It was very unpopular. Then we won, and my numbers went through the roof. I have very high poll numbers.
No, you don't, and no, it wasn't. And the reason nobody's talking about Venezuela right now is because the fuck up in Iran is so bad.
They went through the roof. It was.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for reminding everybody. Subscribe, will you? It doesn't take much. Just subscribe. You know. All right. Maybe I should do. You know what I need? Hold on 1 second. Just to, because I think we all at times, I think, need a bit of a break from this current state of affairs, as it were. Where's this? Okay, there you go. And then I will do a run scene. I'll put this one up here, and then I'll make it the. I like it. Remember me. There we go. And then on this one, I'll just go.
Time for a shameless plug. Oh yeah, it's shameless plug time.
All right. The shameless plug, besides the fact that we'll be at July 31st, Denver, Colorado, City by the Bay, Nerd Halen live. I mean, come on. Comedy and a great Van Halen tribute, because we do our best to sound exactly like the record. That's the rule. We can joke around in between songs all we want. As long as it sounds like the fans want it to sound, that's the rule. And the other thing is, just subscribe, will you? Just hit I'm shamelessly plugging my own channel. Just subscribe to the goddamn, there it goes. There you go. Subscribe. And patreon.com/HalSparks. There's that's it. That's all I'm doing occasionally. These will be my own little ads. Sometimes we just need a break from, and by the way, I'm sorry if I didn't warn you about the nut earlier as well. That was just wrong of me. So, my bad. My bad.
It was very unpopular when I went to Venezuela. They said, oh, we don't want. Well, first of all, that one's relatively close. It's sort of a semi-neighbor, right?
Yeah, that's how I would do a semi-neighbor. You know, like Greenland.
And the relationship with Venezuela is incredible. We've taken out millions and millions of barrels of oil out of Venezuela. It's very oil.
No, we haven't.
Prone, I guess, Chris, one of them.
It's very oil prone. Huh? Sorry. Oh, there's a maggot. Welcome. Thank you, by the way, to the trolls and maggots who come and visit the show, because whereas Hassan Piker might, flip a stitch when you guys show up, and, he gets very upset. He's very delicate around that. He's delicate when his own fans don't agree with him. That's odd. Whatever. Isn't it lovely to have somebody who, can deal with disagreement like an honorable human being? It's nutty and not shock a dog. But anyways, maggots, welcome, because you help us out in the algorithm. But can somebody explain to me what you mean by oil prone?
Out of Venezuela.
What he means by oil prone? I mean, you know what? I'm just going to say it. Maggots, whatever he says, you say. You, the king and the land are one, and you're the dung heap that he's built his castle on. So from now on, anybody who's still MAGA is on the hook for anything that Trump says. Cool? We cool?
Action replays in magnified fortune.
Explain what the fuck that means, right?
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
See what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, if you're a maggot and you've hung in there this long, you have to explain to us what this means.
The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
They do, except they never did. No one ever has. Also, for the record, you have to take a cognitive test before any of us have to listen to you. And also, what the fuck was he saying here?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
That might be a broken clock moment. So maggots, feel free, because you're on the hook for everything he says. Everything. Including grab him by the pussy, but when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything you want. Anything. That's even beyond the grab them part.
Well, it's very oil prone. I guess, Chris, one of the...
Sorry, someone says MAGA and proud. That's AI changed. Okay, sorry. I hope you mean quote AI changed. Wait 1 second. I don't know which one you're referring to. I think it might be the fact where I cut out the music on Ripidu.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Yeah, I just took the music out of that. That's actually what he said. Now, if you think, let's just say you don't believe that one at all. How about this?
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
Right? That's a thing, right? How about when he thought there were airports during the Revolutionary War?
Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
So that you're on the hook for that. Also,
to me, Corona means Italy.
Okay, Verona is in Italy. Corona is a beer.
To me, Corona means Italy.
So, and it's not my, these are not my words. They're not even his words at this point. They're your words, maggots. You're on the hook. Sorry.
Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
Yeah, no, he actually he didn't. But you know what? Winston Churchill, I'm fairly certain, could pronounce Iowa.
Iowa values.
Without choking to death. Also, Winston Churchill would if he took a medication, he would only experience it if he actually took the medication.
First Lady's doing great, and I would say fully recovered or just about fully recovered. But we are fully recovered, and I am.
How about let's see. Where's another? Yeah, I got a bunch more of these.
Michigan gave us Motang.
What's Motang? Hey, maggots. You can go look that one up. That is, again.
Michigan gave us Motang. Gave us Motown. Gave us the Mustang.
Which, if you combine,
Michigan gave us Motang.
Which if you combine them together, like an idiot, you would get the word Motang. Also, remember Karen Pence? Karen Pence, Mike Pence's wife, Karen.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
Or Carrot. Yeah. How about Nicaragua? Are they almost a neighbor?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Yeah, a lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua. I've never been to Nicaragua, but how about wildlife refuges?
Wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this. You look at what we do with our wildlife.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely right. But don't worry, he
person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Yeah, he was so panicked by his first Montreal cognitive exam that he remembered it for days afterwards. Now he's just happy he can point at the camel and say camel and not bumpy horse. Good luck, maggots. Keep at it. Keep digging. It's all right.
One of the most, right? Yes.
Sorry, one of the most oil-prone countries. What the fuck does oil-prone mean? You mean oil-rich?
Oil is incredible. We've taken out millions and millions of barrels of oil out of Venezuela. It's very oil prone. I guess, Chris, one of the most, right?
Yes.
No, they're not oil prone. They don't, they didn't decide a long time ago. They just kind of like the idea of oil. So they just start practicing really hard and eventually produce oil from their own nipples.
And we've taken out, you're sort of leading it, but you want to just tell them real fast about the relationship we have with Venezuela, Chris?
Yeah, things with Venezuela have gone very well. Venezuelan oil exports today are 3 times higher than they were right before we went in. So it has been a meaningful increment.
So what was the baseline? You do realize we're going to need something to multiply by, whether to know, because if it was 18 barrels, big fucking deal. If it was 40 million, you might be saying something.
Incremental supply of oil to the world, and one of the reasons we're solving a 47-year-old problem of Iran's race for nuclear weapons and oil prices in the U.S. We wish they were lower, but gasoline prices in the U.S. are.
Okay, no, it has nothing to do with Venezuela. It's because China, who's the biggest client state of Iran, stocked up on oil before the war began. They have 1.2 billion barrels in reserve. You know why? Because somebody told them the war was coming. Somebody tipped off China and told them the war was coming so they could stock up ahead of time. By the way, you know where Iran gets all of its engines for its Shahed drones? Guess what country? I'll give you 3 guesses, and none of them are Korea or Papua New Guinea. Those are right out.
Are, a little over $4. They're $10 in Europe. They're higher in Asia. They're very high in California. The bigger threat to energy prices in the United States is Democratic.
Oh, by the way, I want to thank George for sending me a video from Mr. Global, who talks about the affordability of gas in the country, where in California, the gas prices are higher, but so are wages by and large. Even the minimum wage is higher there. So as a percentage of your income, poor Californians are paying about somewhere in the order of 4.2% of their weekly take-home pay for gas. Whereas in West Virginia, it's over 5%. And because they drive farther and there's no public transportation, it's even higher in its expression. So you're closer to 8% of your take-home pay is now going to gas in West Virginia. West Virginia is the least affordable state in the country for gasoline right fucking now. Right now. California is 12th. It's not even in the top 10. And in the top 10, 8 out of the 10 are, wait for it, red states, where everybody's fucking broke all the time. And the tax dollars that they spend on social services there to keep the companies that are there afloat, like Arkansas, where Walmart relies on Medicare to take care of, and Social Security to take care of most of their employees nationwide, but especially there. Where does that money come from? Does it the federal tax dollars that go into Mississippi and Louisiana and Arkansas and Kentucky and Virginia and West Virginia? Where's that money come from? Does it come from the tax base in those states? No. It comes from New York, Illinois, and California, and Washington State, increasingly. Big fucking blazingly blue states paying for the fact that red states hang on the Fed tit every day of the week.
Green energy policies, they have driven up energy prices far more than a conflict in Iran. And the conflict in Iran will come to an end. We hope the crazy green energy, drive up energy prices policy of the Democrats at federal and state levels, we hope, hope that comes to an end too.
No, they're not. And keep hoping that coal is going to make a comeback, dum-dum.
And remember that.
Because, by the way, none of these rich assholes live downriver from coal plants.
With, if you want to call it a war or if you want to call it a military operation, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and everybody agrees to that, no matter, almost everybody.
Yeah, didn't you obliterate it last year? Why are we even still talking about it?
But wait a minute. Our gasoline prices are lower than they were with Biden without that.
No, they aren't. And when they were higher, it was because were coming out of COVID and the American people were buying. We were in the supply chain, supply and demand. We had a higher demand and more money to pay for it. So we paid more for gas so that we could get our economy started. And we did. America was way ahead of the rest of the countries in the world because we paid to be at the front of the line.
And he would have let them have. In fact, he inspired them to have, frankly, a nuclear weapon. Him and Obama. Obama picked the wrong country.
By the way, he's saying that because he knows full well that the reason that they need one now and why they're so driven by it is the fact that they think they'll only be safe by having one, in the same way that North Korea hasn't been invaded, and they know that they will have that in their back pocket and use MAD as a way of protecting themselves because he tore up the JCPOA.
Country, you know that. And the Obama deal, I terminated that, or they would have had a nuclear. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Our deal, if we make that deal, and it's going well, but who knows?
No, it isn't. It's not going anywhere. It's not going at all.
We make that deal, it's the exact opposite. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
It sounds like you're in it for as long as it takes.
I'm not going to let them have a nuclear weapon, no. With Obama, it was a road, you know that, it was a road to a nuclear weapon. That was a short-term agreement, and at the end of which they would have a nuclear weapon. So they would have had it.
No, it wasn't. And by the way, why wouldn't you just build on top? You already have the agreement and go, we're keeping that or whatever, but we're going to tighten it down more. We're going to put a blockade on until you guys agree to lengthen it and extend the already existing thing with the other countries involved. Why not do that? If you're a big tough guy. Right.
Had it 4 years ago. Then we attacked with this beautiful plane right here, the B-2 bomber. We attacked 10 months ago. We attacked their nuclear sites and they were obliterated. It turned out.
Well, then why are we there if they're obliterated?
That, CNN was wrong. They said, well, maybe they weren't hit that hard. They were hit so hard, nobody knows if you can even get it out.
Well, then why are we there?
But the only ones that have the capability of getting out is us in China. We're the only ones with that kind of equipment.
Okay, then we don't have to worry about it ever again.
Are powerful enough to go down that deep into a mountain. But that mountain crushed it. That mountain literally collapsed on top of it.
It literally didn't.
Pilots did one hell of a job. And now the atomic energy, as you know, has backed us up on that. They think it's a very, very hard thing to get it. But we'll get it anyway. But we're the only one, and China. I believe China too. But we're the only two that have the capability.
Again, then why would we have to worry about them getting it? Why aren't you working on a deal with China about promise not to dig it up? Me neither.
President Biden is out promoting a new book this week. When you met with Joe Biden, President.
Oh wait, hold on one second. He hates hearing about anybody but himself. Hold on. Here, Russian officials publicly reiterated Moscow is willing to receive Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium and hold it on Russian territory until under international monitoring. This idea replies the mechanism. Let's see. Hold on one second. Whoops. I'm looking something up. Talk amongst yourselves. One second. Wait, there. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. This guy. And it's 2000. It's the older one. Hold on. Then it's. Yeah, so this is the primary thing. This is Jerusalem Post, but you get the idea. Nations prepared to arm Iran with nuclear warhead after U.S. strikes Russia's Medvedev claims. Medvedev suggests the United States attacks on 3 sites in Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordow backfired and led to the opposite result from what President Trump had set out to achieve. The goal being is that they're gonna supply them with nuclear material and reactors to store the stuff that they have in Russia and dole it out.
President Joe Biden.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Sorry.
And right here in the Oval Office on November the 13th of 2024, could you detect any cognitive decline in President Biden at that time?
No, not really. I mean, he was the same guy I've been watching for a long time. I mean, you could go back 40 years. I watched him 40 years ago, 30 years ago. He was never the sharpest guy. You do know that, right?
But he managed to pass an infrastructure act, and you couldn't. Weird.
It wasn't like he was sharp as a tack. But
what's more America first, a war in Iran or passing the first infrastructure bill in 26 years? Plus, because it was actually much larger.
No, it was the same guy. They actually invited me here before the election, which was strange. You know, we went here before, but then I met also, as you know, we did the ritual. And
the ritual. Sorry. Did you eat a baby?
I mean, he was fine as far as I was concerned.
Did he notice your stroke?
I don't know. Something happened.
By the way, hit the like, share the show. It's Sal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Also, in case you're joining us right now, I apologize. Trump's nut is the thing of nightmares. Viewers are advised to have a barf bag handy. Okay.
To him during the debate, it could have been me. You know, I thought I had a very good debate. Nobody ever says that. They say that Biden did badly. What about me? Did I do well? You know, there's a reason he did badly. So the question is, did he do badly because he choked or because he didn't have it? But he didn't have a good...
Or because of the Havana Ray?
I would say this, he did not have a good night.
But during that time period, you met...
Have you had a bad night since you've been in office? Tell us about them. Also, tell us about the chemo treatments that you're getting, which is why you disappear at the end of every month / beginning of the next month for about 5 days, and you're very chit-chatty about 3 days in when they've got you jacked on steroids.
You met with him for about 2 hours. You didn't feel he was...
No, he spoke softly, very softly, and as we started to speak,
Well, he's got a bigger stick than you, so...
You know, I mentioned this to people. We spoke very, very softly, very low, and as we talked, we got along really well, and I thought he was fine. When I say fine, I mean, was he like talking to Doug Burgum? Was he like talking to Chris? Was he like talking to any of these monsters up here, all these tremendous politicians and environmental geniuses? Was he like talking to Andy Barr? No. He was fine.
I have a question about Hunter Biden.
Oh, so you felt about him the way those guys feel about talking to you?
He's on social media now, and he has suggested, maybe joking, I don't know, that he could run for president in 2028. How would he do, Hunter Biden, in a 2028 Democratic primary?
Well, you would think that, you know, past has something to do with winning an election, and I would say his past is not the greatest. Where's Hunter?
Oh, yeah? Sorry, the dude who was Epstein's wingman for 27 years.
Hunter, remember my Where's Hunter? It became the number one.
Yeah, it was dumb. It made no sense. He was obviously very public.
One shirt anywhere in the world for about...
Nope, never was.
3 weeks.
For about 3 weeks. Nope, never did. Was it just, that was all in your head?
I'm not going to say bad. I'm sure, you know, hey, if the guy from Maine can do well, I guess Hunter could do well too, because the guy from Maine is a basket case. And I would say worse than him is the one from Texas that looks like Alfred E. Newman. I would say that if he can do...
By the way, I think it's odd, and maybe this is defensive on his part, that Trump's big problem right now, is that he looks like Chris from Family Guy. And let's see if I can, like, day by day, it gets worse and worse. Here you go. Trump is looking more like, even his like hair on the side. If we look at, where is he? His little fender of hair that he has when he turns his head, especially on the right side, because it's just blown out. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. He looks more and more like Chris from Family Guy every day.
Well, maybe Hunter can do well. I'm not sure. It'll be pretty close as far as I'm concerned.
And I've got a question about the nuclear dust. So the bombers go in, they entomb
He's over it.
a lot of this enriched uranium.
Yeah.
At this point, do you need a deal with Iran to go get it? Or have you thought about just a covert, daring, send in the SEALs, send in the Rangers?
But I didn't want to be Jimmy Carter, you know. I didn't feel like being Jimmy Carter.
So that's off the
we
table.
did. Well,
Oh, you mean a good man and a decent Christian who put limits on the CIA and created the inspector generals so that people couldn't, enrich themselves in their departments?
we thought about it right at the very beginning, before we did what we did, before we destroyed their entire military. We thought about it, and I didn't want to be in a position where you had, to get there. It's not like Venezuela. Like you go in, you're there for a matter of minutes, and you're out, and everybody's waving goodbye as you take off, and
Yeah, it's a kidnapping.
you brought the cargo back.
The cargo, a human being and his wife for some fucking reason.
This is different. You'd have to be there for 2 weeks. You'd need
2 weeks. 2 weeks. He said a mountain collapsed on top of this material. 2 weeks.
massive equipment. You'd have to airlift the equipment in. You're
Which would take 2 weeks by itself.
in a war zone. And there was a time at the very beginning when we thought about doing that, because they would have not
Who's we, motherfucker? You mean you did? And everybody's like, no, sir, no, we can't, no.
been watching, but they would have found out. I mean, during a period of a week to 2 weeks, you would have had a major construction operation, because that plane, and more importantly, those people that operate those planes, including the mechanics, that flew for 37 hours.
Yeah, they're built for that. They're built to actually circle the earth and stay up for long periods of time. They refuel in the air.
Round trip. Think of that. And the tankers that refill them 4 times.
Right. Yes, we understand how they work.
And
Yeah, that shit's been happening. We all saw Dr. Strangelove, except you.
what an
Obviously. Let's see.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Exactly.
operation it was. Amazing. And but we would have been, Peter, we would have been there for a period of from a week to 2 weeks. We would have gotten it. But I said, I don't like the idea of that. All of a sudden they, pinpoint, they still had missiles left. That means they would pinpoint you and just keep lobbing them in until one gets through, and people would have gotten killed. So I didn't like it.
That's the explanation that people in the military gave him as to why that was a dumb idea of his. 2 weeks. Who the fuck thinks digging that shit out would take 2 weeks? Dude, the reflecting pool took longer than 2 weeks.
We could get it right now. I don't think they could stop us if we wanted, but there's no reason to. It's entombed. You use a good word. It's entombed. We also have cameras on it through Space Force. We have
Satellites. Space Force.
very powerful cameras. Every door, there's a door. You know where the doors go? They go to bad places.
Piles of dirt. They go to bad places. Naughty places. Private speakeasies.
But every single place on that.
Where the doors go, they go to bad places. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. In theory, if the shit's entombed, the doors don't go anywhere. Is everybody in? You love her badly.
Cameras. Every door, there's a door, you know where the doors go? They go to bad places. But every single...
Gibberish. Maggots. Hey, there's a maggot. I didn't AI that, all right? Proof positive. He just said that. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What's he talking about? The doors go to bad places. When in theory, they don't go anywhere.
Place on those mountains is basically three, because we also hit it with tomahawks after. After that we hit it with tomahawk. Every inch of that land has cameras on it. We have about 9 of them, and they're on it. We cover it. So if anybody even got near it, we would know what we had to do.
And we've heard
I don't know what you think you have to do, but they have gotten near it.
meet with the new Ayatollah, the new supreme leader.
I don't want to meet, but if I did meet, I'd be honored to meet him. I'd like to see if we make a deal. But if we make a deal, it's possible that I would meet him. I'd be okay with
Would
it.
that happen here in the U.S., White House?
Oh, I don't know, Peter. I haven't really heard too much about it. I didn't suggest it, but some people have suggested it. If it happened, it would be happen.
If it happened, it would be happen. It was not suggested by people in the administration. It was asked, I think, by a reporter like a couple days ago.
I didn't suggest it, but some people have suggested it. If it happened, it would be happen. I'd be respectful.
If it happened, it would be happen. I would be respectful of the Ayatollah of Iran, who says their nuclear material is sacred and therefore they will never give it up. If it happened, I would be happen. I think he means I would be happy. But why? Why bother making? Why? I mean, 4 out of 5/6 of the letters.
Because Epic Fury killed his dad and his wife and his kid, that he's got hard feelings and wouldn't want to meet?
Well, I would say I'm not his favorite person. But with that being said, he's probably I don't know. He's probably a professional.
Why would you think that? He's the religious leader of the... He thinks everybody's Kim Jong-un.
In some circles, he has a very good
or Putin
reputation, actually.
People like hedonists like him with no real care for their people or their circumstance. And you think this asshole gives a shit? That Iran is threatening Ivanka and Jared, and he's like, well, whatever. Shit happens.
Sometimes some people say bad, but a lot of people say bad about me. It's totally false, of course.
Mr. President.
On jobs, tomorrow the jobs report will be released. While the unemployment rate has been steady at 4.3%, the black unemployment rate has been 7.3%. When you ran for president, you courted black voters and talked about what you described as black jobs. How do you describe why this disparity is happening? What can you do to close that?
Well, we're doing very well with the black jobs, African-American jobs.
Oh, shit. By the way, for the record, again, jobs are something poor people have. Careers are something that rich people have. And if you're in the investment class, you don't even have to bother with that. A career is still a working job. It's still, you have to show up someplace for that. That's not what he and his family do at all. They're the investor class. They just fucking jet from dinner to dinner. Black jobs are service jobs. That's what he means.
Jobs we're doing.
Jobs are something poor people do.
I saw some numbers that we're doing really well. But
he just quoted you the fucking numbers, dummy. He just literally told you what the numbers are.
What we're really going to do well is when all these plants are open. We're building many car plants. We're bringing cars back from Germany. We're bringing, we lost the car industry years ago. 54% of...
Sorry, we didn't lose Ford plants because they moved to Germany.
Of the industry went to Germany, Japan, Canada, Mexico. It's all coming back.
No. Also, Ford and Chevy plants didn't move to Japan. Some of them moved to Canada. That's the theory. But then so did a bunch of Toyota plants and shit like that.
It's amazing.
It's not amazing. It's fucking stupid.
And where your black worker is really going to do well is when those factories open. So I think
because that's what they do. Because black people are factory workers. That's what happened. That's what those are black jobs. You know, assembly lines. You know, building managers, shit like that. Fuck you, dude.
I think they're going to be great. We've been doing very. It's been a big focus for me.
Jesus Christ, those are black jobs.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. On today's announcement, how do you ensure the estimated cost savings are passed on to the consumers and not held by the company? And then on Iran, what specific progress has been made today in talks
Fuck that dude. Seriously, I'm going to grind on that for hours after tonight's show. You just know it.
with them, and where are the sticking points still?
So we're really lowering costs. You know, when I came into this job, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country.
No, you didn't. We had the highest inflation in 47 years in 2022 and the beginning of 2023 because we were coming back from COVID because it was supply shock. It wasn't monetary inflation. When you came in, it was on its way down. Now it's up from where it was.
48 years, they say, but I
Okay, hold on. By the way, I got to end the show at some point tonight on time because the Golden Knights are playing. And then after the Golden Knights game, Camden and I, my son and I, are watching the entire Pirates of the Caribbean series. And so we got to watch the second one before bedtime tonight. That's just how it works. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. So, where is it? Here you go. In December. Okay. Show a chart of inflation from December 2024 till now. One moment, please. Hold on. I've got, while I'm waiting for this little graphic, hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. This would be inflation. This is here's January 2025 when Trump took over. This is December of 2024. Started to go down. Then in May of last year, started to go back up again. It was equal to where it was when he took over in September of 2025. It was exactly back to where it was when Trump took over. By the way, it was lower in December. Started to go up based on what people were expecting from what he did. And then he artificially, pump and dumped it. And then it started to go back down again. And then he started this. And this is where it is right now. Inflation is at 3.8% right now. Currently, when Donald Trump took over, it was 2.4%. Right here. It was 2.9%. 2.9? Yeah. 2.9%. It's 3.8 right now. It's a full point practically above where it was. So fuck off. Gibberish, nonsense, silliness. No, 100 times no. He's not. He didn't take it when he took over. It wasn't the worst it had ever been. Relatively normal compared to where it had been, obviously. And this is where it is now. That's where it was. And by the way, before the Iran war started, it had already spiked up here. This was during the tariff stuff. That's what drove the price up. And then this is actually his tariffs being called off by the courts. When the court said your tariffs are illegal, then prices started to fall because we weren't having to factor in the future costs of the tariffs. And then, boing. So no, Donald Trump did not save us from horrible inflation and magically turn it around? Maggots. By the way, I'm very proud. I see that we have 32. Now we've got a few hundred thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you like the show. But we got 32. It might be a new record of thumbs down with the maggots today. I'm very proud. You know why? Because that means they're here watching the show and, teeth grinding, armpits, an under boob sweating that they get when they get all upset. And then they get to watch me point to inflation right here and point to the lowest point that it was under Trump, caused directly by the courts overturning his tariffs. And then the dip he had before was because he didn't implement the tariffs, and everybody was expecting him to right away because he was like, tariffs, potatoes and chicken, or whatever the fuck he was talking about. Remember that business?
Potatoes and chicken.
Right?
Tariffs.
Right? And he came in and he didn't do them for a little bit. It took him a while right here. And then as he started to implement them and talk about actually implementing them, boy, it started to shoot up. Here we go. And then there was a hold put on him. And then it turned out he was bullshitting, and they're so full of holes, they're like Swiss cheese, which I think did actually have a tariff on it. And then this is where the court said, fuck you. And then it went down here, and then he started the war to cover for the fact that, he needs, I guess, inflation to be high to feel like a man. I don't know what it is. Very odd. So anyways, maggots, congratulations. You get to be here when I point to the fact that inflation is much higher than it was when he took over from Joe Biden. And also it was actually higher after he won the election. It started to go up. And because of people expecting what was going to happen under him. And then, of course, it got worse when he, signed off, and then they thought his tariffs were bullshit. And then as soon as he implemented them, it went up based on his policies. So this is the actual policies of Donald Trump driving inflation up. Whereas, Biden was hit with COVID coming out of it, and then the entire world economy restarting. And that was why we had supply shock instead of monetary inflation. Donald Trump decided to create monetary inflation through tariffs because he thinks that China pays the tariffs, not the importer / consumer, because he's a moron. And then once people realized he was tacoing, they started to go down. And then when the court said this is all illegal, then they went down like this. And then he decided, screw you guys anyways. If I can't get a Nobel Peace Prize, I'll get the Nobel War Prize for my
tariffs.
There you go. So anyways, much love to you guys. Appreciate you. I'm going to go rest my voice again, and I will see you tomorrow for Friday Eye, which is going to be a banger. Rob can't be with us, so it'll be me and my lonesome, but there will be some very cool things. I'm just warning you that it would be Attack of the Data Centaur. Thank you, chat room. Thank everybody for the super chats. Hit the like, share the show. Did we get one? I think we got a super chat. Yeah, we did. Thank you, Pam. Yes, I will be there in the morning. I gotta stop clearing my throat. Anyways, hit the like, share the show, especially you maggots out there. You know you love me. Come on. Don't be upset just because I teabag Trump every day. I can't wait to get back to singing. My voice comes back. It's a little scary, I gotta say. Anyways, you guys are wonderful.
You move like lightning on my skin. A sacred equation dreaming of sin. My touch is a promise from a liar. Cold as ice that cries out for fire. Reflections of words that teach me not to feel. Praying this nightmare won't show me what's real.
Subscribe.
Take your hand, maybe you'll understand. But you pull away in horror at the coldness of steel. Silver pulse, silent scream, static underneath the dream. Electric paradise, talk to these memories. Electric paradise, my future is the past I see. If this is life, why can't
Oh, yeah, Liberal Dan's going to join us tomorrow for part of the show. Excellent.